What does the future of surgical oncology look like? What direction should the SSO move to prepare for this future? To answer this question, consider for a moment a common disease treated by members of the SSO, breast cancer. Consider development, for example, of neoadjuvant chemotherapy. As highlighted here, an MRI scan in a woman who has locally advanced breast cancer. This patient underwent neoadjuvant chemotherapy and had a complete pathologic response. What will be the role of surgical oncologists when chemo or directed therapy results in an increasing number of patients who develop a complete pathologic response? The answer to this question is that the role of surgical oncologists needs to extend beyond operative therapy alone. As another example of the changing landscape in oncology care, consider another cancer that is commonly treated by surgical oncologists, melanoma. There have been tremendous strides made in the understanding of the biology of melanoma. New biologic insights are being discovered with the identification of pathways which drive the growth and progression of melanoma. And based on these pathways, new drugs are coming online which target specifically key drivers of melanoma growth and progression. There has also been an explosion in our understanding of tumor immunology and the complex immune response involving tumor antigens, T cells, and dendritic antigen-presenting cells. From these findings, multiple clinical trials are being developed, which are based on a better understanding of the immunological basis of melanoma with impressive results. So what will be the future of surgical oncology? First, surgical oncologists of the future will be board certified and will have to be trained in multidisciplinary care and in-depth understanding of cancer biology. Surgical oncologists will need to train to allow them to be effective to function as team leaders in these groups. There will need to be a greater emphasis on preventative and palliative care. As we move away from fee-for-service reimbursement models towards population health, preventative and palliative care will play a greater role in oncology care. Personalized medicine will play a greater role. Genetic information about the patients as well as their tumors will be used to direct therapy. Molecular and cellular analysis will inform pharmacogenomics to be able to specifically target cancer cell treatment in an individual patient. Directed cancer therapy requires a greater understanding of the biologic characteristics of cancer. Cancer patients that were once thought to have one homogeneous disease are being stratified based on molecular profiling, identifying distinct groups of patients based on molecular markers, which are predictive of prognosis, response to therapy, and drug sensitivity and resistance, as well as genetic differences which can inform prediction of adverse drug effects. After stratification, molecular and genetic profiling are used to direct specific treatments which will provide greater effectiveness with a lower chance of complications. But what role will surgical oncologists play in the new era of personalized therapy? There are several concerning issues related to trends for research and development in the United States. As one example, scientific research and development spending from 2012 to 2013 decreased significantly in the US and Canada, while many other countries have increased their investment in research. This is one piece of evidence that we are falling behind in research as a nation compared to our global partners. An analysis of NIH spending over the past few decades reveals a significant decrease in NIH funding in both real dollars over the past 10 years. Both total NIH dollars and total funding of R01 equivalent grants has decreased consistently. Now, one might say that $20 billion is a lot of money, but compare the NIH budget to military spending when charted on the same graph. The national defense budget is in the range of $600 to $700 billion. Just the funding for Iraq and Afghanistan alone dwarfs the NIH budget, and only a fraction of the NIH budget is dedicated to the war on cancer, a war against an enemy that is just as scary and just as lethal and much closer to home as the ones we fight overseas. We have to make choices as a nation, and the SSO needs to have a clear position and voice for its support for cancer research. The outlook for research funding for surgeons is particularly concerning. These are data from a paper published in the Annals of Surgery showing NIH awards to surgical faculty. The total medical school faculty over this time period was noted to increase by 132%. However, NIH awards to surgical faculty decreased by 47%. In addition, there was noted to be a growing gap between awards for surgical and non-surgical faculty. Sadly, the research career of the majority of surgeon scientists is short, with only 20% engaged in research by age 59. So what can the SSO do? Well, first, we need to place a greater emphasis on research in residency and fellowship training. We need to partner with the NCI to strengthen the role of surgical oncology as a recognized scientific field. Surgeon scientists bring a unique perspective to oncology care, and we have a fundamental role to play in oncology research. We need to advocate for more funding for cancer research, particularly solid organ cancers treated by surgical oncologists. We need to increase the recruitment of students who have an interest in basic cancer biology and who will be capable of advancing scientific discovery in surgical oncology. Finally, you can make a difference. One easy thing everyone here can do is to support the SSO Foundation, which provides educational and research funding for young surgical oncologists. The surgical oncologist of the future will no doubt need to remain a surgeon, but he or she will also need to be a geneticist, a molecular biologist, a bioinformaticist, a pharmacologist, and a radiologist. In order to accomplish this task, we need to promote and recruit and train the best and the brightest in surgical oncology. Surgical oncology has a brilliant future if we are willing to evolve beyond operative therapy of the cancer patient. We need to embrace the future, and the SSO needs to create the tools and structure to prepare the next generation to be successful surgical oncologists of the future. It has been a tremendous honor to serve as your president. I thank the leadership of the SSO for the opportunity to serve you as the 2015 SSO president. Thank you.